What is up, guys? It is finally here, the 2023-2024 ice fishing season. We've been waiting for this day. I've been doing stuff since July. I've posted videos in July. It was 100 degrees out, but guess what? It's 27 degrees out right now. We have a 10-inch snowstorm coming tomorrow night, and I thought, what better time than right now to get all my gear out, get situated, take my inventory, and show you guys what we're going to take out for our overnight camping trips and for our day trips. Stay tuned. So this is going to be used on overnights and day trips. It's the portable shack. I was going to pop it up for you, but it started to rain and I didn't want it to get all wet. With the cold temps tonight, it would just end up freezing. And it is brand new, so I didn't want it to smell all mildewy. I wanted it to smell like the new ice shack smell when we take it out for the first time. Luckily, I don't have to pop it up. You guys see the color and you know exactly what it is. It's an Eskimo. It's insulated. It's the Outbreak 450 XD. I did have one last year and there was a factory defect on it. Eskimo did take care of me. They sent me this brand new one. It was the same model I had. So I'm very happy with their customer service. Unfortunately, by the time I got it, with the bad ice last year, we were unable to use this. So brand new to me. I have used this model before and I was super happy with it, other than the defect that it had. So this is going to be what we take pretty much every single trip. And we have one other option for you guys, something that's going to be a little bit more permanent, a little bit warmer, and basically like a home station when we want to take a bunch of people out, especially with the kids. Alright guys, if you've seen my previous video, I went over this a little bit. I think it was actually our first video ever posted. This is a 2022 Nitro ice shack. It's a 6x10. We insulated it with insulation board and we put this Lumon over the top of it, and we never got it out. It was just wicked crappy ice conditions and we never felt comfortable pulling this out to where we were going to take it. We did do a lot of work, so as you can see, we got the bench for cooking and we got plenty of room for our gear underneath it and cookware. We got the bench over here with storage underneath here so we can throw our stuff in. So as you guys can see, this would definitely be more comfortable as we taking out kids and a bunch of people. If we wanted to do kind of like a little party at least once a year, I'd like to do a big shindig out on the ice with everybody. So everything in here is just designed to save space. I'm pretty upset that we didn't get to use it last year, but this is going to stay in one location most likely. It's a bear to move around, and I don't have a long enough trailer to just pull my four-wheeler up on with this and just keep them both on the same trailer. So this will most likely stay in one place. It's going to be a place we know we can get some flags, and then we'll use the portable when we want to try new places. Oh yeah, we're going to sleep on the ice this year, but we needed a few things to do that. This is what we got. Everything extra big, just for me. Keep your comments to yourself. I did that so we could put stuff on the bed with me. It's nothing to do with, you know, whatever. Alright, so we have a 0 degree sleeping bag. This is really going to be your preference on what you want. Just make sure, if you think it's going to get to 0 degrees, get something that's going to be good for negative temperatures. You never know if your heating source is going to crap the bed in the middle of the night. This right here, it's a 0 degree, but it was actually rated for negative 30, I believe, on the specs. So that's something you guys will have to do your own research on. I like this one. Just a cheap pad to put on top of the cot. And then this right here is the big boy. There's no parts and pieces. It just folds out and goes in the carrying bag. There's no shoving the bars in the ends or anything like that. That's why I like it. It's got a pouch for some stuff right here to keep it off the ice. And convenience for me is the best thing. Convenience and to make sure it does the job that it's intended for. So, and all three of these things are going to more than exceed what I need. So they're going to be perfect for me. So, some other inside the shack stuff, whether we're going for the day or we're going for the overnight, I got it on the table behind me. So these Eskimo chairs are going to be awesome to sit. They look funky, but they're super comfortable, way more comfortable than I thought. I actually went a few years kind of laughing at them. I was like, that must suck to sit on, but these are actually pretty awesome. Everything in today's video and then more is going to be linked below. So I'm going to put the links for you guys so you can click on them, you can get the brands, you can check out the specs. That's exactly what I did starting off. A lot of this stuff you guys are going to see, you're going to be like, hey, I've seen that on another YouTube channel. I do the same thing you guys are doing, and I go on to the people that I enjoy watching, the people that relate to me, and I look at the gear that they're using, and I don't just run out and buy it because they have it, but I'm able to do my research, and it kind of narrows some stuff because there's a lot of stuff out there that's just junk. And when you start talking about wintertime on the ice with negative temperatures, you really need to make sure that you're being safe out there. So again, I'll link it below. You can check out what I have, and you can do your own research based off that. You can like some of this stuff, or it might not be for you. So that's something you can do. So let's keep going with this. Like I said, we do have a couple of these because we got a bunch of people going. I picked up these lantern lights for overnight. They are solar powered and you can charge them, which is great. I believe they came in a 4-pack. We'll be able to hang them inside the shack. The fan. This was a big thing a lot of people talked about their first night. They did their overnight, and this is something they did not have. So again, by watching those videos, we're able to learn from each other, right? That's the whole idea of these channels, is to really learn and teach, and for everybody to get out on the ice or hunting or whatever adventure that we're doing at the time. So this is also a light. We'll be able to hang this. Heat rises, right? So this will blow the heat back down and save you and make your propane more efficient, or whatever heat source that you have. So this was so cheap for what it was, and it's just so many people's videos said, hey, last time we didn't have this, it made a huge difference. So that's why I got it, and I definitely recommend you having that. Like I said, you have to charge some of this stuff, right? So we picked up this Jackery, 300 watt. The specs on this, it could charge your phone 50 times. Okay, this weighs 7 pounds. So super light, 4.5 hours to charge it to full. You can charge it with your vehicle, you can charge it with the outlet. The reviews speak for itself on this brand. I think it's one of the top ones. I got a Black Friday deal. I believe it was $200. It might be $50 more than that regular. And then obviously I want to take care of it. So I got the case, slides right in here. I actually have some of my other gear already in here because the case was for different models, including this one, but it's a little bit big. So that's perfect, right? I can put my charging cords, anything charging related can go in the case with it. So typically I don't like it when cases are too big for the item that it's supposed to protect. But in this case, no pun intended, I love it. So, all right. Another thing a lot of people started off without, and then when they had them, they said they'd never go back, is these puzzle mat floor exercise tiles, whatever you want to call them, anti-fatigue mats. So you just puzzle these things together. I got 3 of them. The Outbreak is 75 square feet. The 3 packages of tile that I have will cover 72 square feet, so it works out. It doesn't need to be perfect. This will stay dry. You'll be able to walk around in your socks, and it'll also keep that coldness from the ice from coming up and keeping your shack cold, especially at night, which I don't think I'll use this for a day trip. I think this is going to be more of the overnight style. So we'll get those in there, and I'll probably cut some holes in them so I can drill some holes in the ice. Some people will just take out the whole piece, but it's a 2x2, so you're now displaying that much ice, and I'd rather not. So I'll cut the hole a little bit bigger than my auger, and I'll be able to just kind of custom fit it a little bit more. All right, so you guys have seen the shacks, and you've seen a little bit of the stuff that we're going to put in the shacks, and as you can see, it's starting to add up pretty quickly. So how are we going to get all this stuff out onto the ice? Well, if you guys have probably checked out behind me, we got a couple options here. So we have 2 jet sleds, both Shappell brand. This one is about 31 wide, this one's 44 wide, and this one is going to be 71 tall, and I believe this one's around 63. I'll throw the actual sizes down on here, but I believe that's pretty close to what it is. So last year we had the small one. We put the runners on it this year to kind of protect it a little bit. And since we have so much interest in going overnight, we decided we had to get this one right here. All right, so Both of them are going to have these runners on it to kind of protect it. This one is just so big and bulky, I decided to add some handles to it. So I got a handle on each side and the back, and I did that because if I ever need to try to pick it up and slide it over, or we're stuck between a tree or whatever else that could happen that only happens to me, I can get myself out of the situation. We also threw some eye bolts, so we got 3 of them on the sides and 2 of them down here on the bottom. Because it is plastic, I ripped some 2x4s. I don't know how good you guys can see that, but I put them underneath here. So that's going to kind of hold everything from just pulling up through that plastic, especially in cold weather. All right, if you look right here, you can see that 2x4. I have this because right here where these bolts are the holes that go out to the hooks that you put your hitch on. I don't like all that pressure in one spot, again, especially when it's cold. So I put the eye bolts through this 2x4, which will distribute the pressure and the force in those cold temperatures and stop that from cracking. I also did a 2x4 right here on the bottom, or a 2x3. Same purpose, right? Cold weather, plastic. Only for this one, the reasoning for it being on the back is right here is another eye bolt. So the reason why we have an eye bolt on the back side is to put another hitch, hook it to this sled, and hook this sled to it. So instead of making 2 trips, we got ourselves a Shappell jet sled train going out onto the ice, and we can get out there in 1 trip, if conditions allow for that. So obviously, if it's too slushy, or if it's a small trail, whatever the case, if we got to take 2 trips, I'm fine with that too. There's a couple different ways to hitch this up, okay? If I'm walking, I'm going to have a tow rope hooked to it. Not the one that came with it, because those are very, very thin, and they'll just cut your hand if you're pulling a lot of weight. So I'll get my own rope. If we're hooking it to the four-wheeler or the snowmobile, I recommend this square stock hitch right here. They do sell a round aluminum one for a little bit cheaper. I think it's only $20 cheaper, but I do not recommend that, okay? This is one of the products I am not going to recommend, regardless of anybody's research. Too many times have I had the sled turn sideways on me, and this will hit the tire on the four-wheeler or get in the track on the snowmobile, right? And these ones just seem to hold up better. Those aluminum ones, they're gone. One time, you do it one time and they're gone. So I don't recommend those, even though they are cheaper. Get the square stock one. I have 2 of them. I got it in case I need to haul both of these sleds at the same time. So I do have 2 of these. The last sled thing related I have is actually this right here. That's not a table cover. This is the cover for the big sled, and I don't have one for the small sled. I might pick one up, but realistically I can just put all the priority stuff in the big sled and cover it up. And by priority stuff, I mean stuff I don't want to get wet. The heaters, the expensive gear, maybe the electronics, that sort of thing, sleeping bag. We can keep that in the big sled, and we can cover that up. And then I have some straps that actually go over everything, just in case we kind of build up too much and the cover doesn't fit really good, so we can still cover up everything that I deem a priority that I do not want to get wet. All right, so we made it out onto the ice. How are we going to get to where the fish live? Well, we got a couple options here. We got last year and we got this year. I'm super excited about this year, but I'll hold off just a second. I'll talk to you guys about last year. So this right here is an 8-inch Jiffy torch. I love this thing. It's super light. It's the composite flights, and I had 0 problems with it, right? So what I had purchased, I had a relative, my cousin Paul, he used this flex drill, which we tried out on his Jiffy torch. He ran it for a year. 0 problems, drilled enough holes, so we were pretty happy. I only use this for ice fishing with this, or I use it for camping, as you guys have seen in some of my other videos, just for the stabilizer bars and stuff like that. He runs a lot of expensive Milwaukee stuff. That is top of the line. To run these drill bits, to run these augers, any brand, I don't care if it's the K-Drill, anything, this one, top of the line is going to be the Milwaukee. But good enough and price range definitely comes into play, right? So again, everything is down the links with the prices and all that stuff. Just go to the link and you can decide for yourself what you want. This worked really well for us. We were able to drill plenty of holes for the day. It came with 2 batteries, came with a hard case, which I like. So we were good to go. This year, however, we are planning on drilling a lot more holes, doing a little running and gunning on the nice days, and I want something with a little bit more power. And it didn't take me long to realize this right here was going to be the top of the line. So I did get the metal. It's a little bit heavier, I believe 4 pounds heavier. So nothing too major, but some people might not like that. But when the price is the price that it was, I feel like I get a good deal. So this is the Ion. It's the Alpha 10-inch, and I've seen several videos of people drilling around 200 holes with one charge, and that's with like over a foot of ice. So if they can drill 200 holes, I'm pretty sure if I want to go drill 30 or 40 for the day, I'm going to be all set. If I do an overnight and I want to drill 40 one day and 40 the next day, I'm still golden, right? So super excited about this right here. I can't wait to get out on the ice and use it. Out of all my new stuff, I think this right here is one of my favorite things that I got this year that I'm going to be able to try out. There's one more thing that's my favorite though, and it's not even close. So as much as I love this, stick around for that new thing because it's going to be awesome. This little attachment, you guys have probably seen this on other videos, ton of different brands from cheap to expensive, but this is for putting your spikes in around your portable shacks, or if you want to put spikes in the ground to hold something down on a windy day or whatever. I already got the drill right, I can pop it in here. I am going to continue bringing this with me for this reason. I'm not going to get the attachment for the Ion right now. Some of the research I've done has showed that it's just wobbly and kind of looks sloppy. So this is just, you know, one thing. I won't have to bring the whole case, but I'll throw this in my pack basket or something instead of having to crank those anchors down into the ground, because especially when they're dull, they suck going in. So the last thing, not really an auger. I guess you could use it early or late ice, but a chisel, spud bar, whatever you want to call it, early ice, this is a necessity to bring out with you so you can check the ice. So if the ice is thin enough but still safe, you could possibly use this to open up your holes. I guess if the ice is thick and you don't want to buy an auger, you could use this, but you would have more energy than I do. So those are what I'm going to use. I'm going to keep this right here. I think I'm going to use it, or maybe just have it as a backup. I'm not sure yet. So if we're kind of just taking the snowmobiles and maybe jig poles out, I might just grab this one. It's got a nice bag that I can throw in my back. Or if for whatever reason I have issues with this or the battery, or if I do something stupid and cause damage to the point where I can't use it, which is likely, I'll be able to use this. So that's what we're going to go with on the ice. They both come with a case. The Jiffy case right here, as you can see, it's pretty small. As the Jiffy is, that fits in there nice and tight. There's really no extra room. You can put some tackle and stuff in it if you want. The Ion bag right here, much larger and much larger than the actual auger. So as I mentioned before, I hate things that are way bigger, when the cases are way bigger than the actual product, and that's the case for that. It's way bigger than it needs to be. It's supposed to fit all their models, and I understand that, but it's just so bulky. I'm not really sure if I'm going to use it or if I'm going to buy just the head cover to take out. Again, this is metal. I'm not really worried about it breaking or anything. So that was just one of the things. I bought it to protect it, but at the end of the day, it's just unnecessary. So holes are all drilled, we're ready to catch some fish. How are we going to do that? Well, here's a couple different ways. This year, made in Maine, I have switched over to the jack trap. So here in Maine, there's basically 2 traps that run the industry, and it's going to be jack traps and heritage traps. I have always been a heritage trap person because that's what I see everybody use. as you guys can see, Chloe has burned all these traps, making them look pretty good. Put some finish on it. You guys can check out our short on that. But this is what I always ran with, and they were kind of throwaway. They were cheaper. You'd run them for 3 years, and then you can just toss them and buy new ones. These are about $32 at Walmart. So it's not going to break the bank, right? Cabela's does sell these traps for $50-ish. Do not let them fool you. This is the same trap that comes from Walmart, okay? If you take your Walmart app on your phone and you scan the barcode on a Cabela's trap, it will come up. It is the same trap. They charge about $20 more, so don't be fooled. Go to Walmart and get these traps if you're looking to get into it a little bit cheaper. I honestly would not drop below this, okay? I know I talked to you guys a lot about you don't need all this stuff to go out. You don't need all this stuff to get into ice fishing. And I know I seem a little hypocritical by showing you all this stuff, right? You do not need this. This is years and years of saving, years and years of upgrading. I bought, fixed, and sold a house during COVID, and if you know anything about the housing market, you know that I made probably more than I should have on it. So just keep that in mind when you're looking at this stuff. I don't want to frustrate people to not go out on the ice, okay? But that being said, there is cheaper traps than this. There's those plastic little tip-up ones for $10, $15, okay? You do not want to go that way. That will frustrate you, and it might push you away from the sport. At the very least, I would get these Lakers right here, okay? That's the cheapest trap I would buy. Again, it's your prerogative. You can do whatever you want. That's just my 2 cents on it. You need to be able to have a good time. It can't just be about money. So if you guys want, I can buy some of the cheapest stuff and I can take it out and we can try to fish with it. So if that's something you want to see, post that in the comments. But again, that's the old. We have this set up right now for pike, so I don't have to reline these traps. So I am going to have a couple different setups. So you will see me using this year. And I believe Chloe's are all the Heritage Lakers too. So, but this is just way heavier duty. I did not burn these. It came all finished and everything. I did change out the flag to an orange and black one. I did like that. They're compact. They fold up nice. It's a local business too, so that's always a good thing. And I just love how compact they are and heavy duty they feel. They just feel rugged. These ones right here have the tendency, after you set them, you'll look behind it and they'll be tipped over. You know, these loosen up a little bit. I've put washers in for spacers to try to prevent that, but they still, you can never get them tight enough. So that's why I've kind of gone away from these. Still a very good trap. I'm just going to throw that out there. Still a very good trap. Still happy with them. Chloe loves hers. But I just wanted to upgrade a little bit and support a Maine business, so we got that. The other thing that we got, I saw on a YouTube channel, and I just thought it was kind of funny at first, but then they were catching a lot of fish. So they make these, and a lot of the ones you might be familiar with are called rattle reels, and I always call this a rattle reel, but they actually brand this as a rattle wheel. So there's a bell inside here. Not sure if you guys can hear that, but you can set these when you're doing your overnights, and you can set a line in the water. You might doze off a little bit, and then that bell will kind of wake you up, and there'd be nothing better to wake up to a fish on the line, right? So we got that. We're gonna try it. We might even try it on some of the colder days if the kids want to sit in the shack and still fish but not have to be out in the elements. That could be something that they could do as well. So I upgraded the traps, and I also upgraded the pack baskets. So this is one of the Loring pack baskets. I actually got the bigger one than what my traps are, so I can really cover them up with the liner. And I got the liner with the pockets inside, so I can separate all the traps and then not just hitting off each other. And then I can put things in the middle that's also not scratching up these traps, like the drill, for instance. This is the old style pack basket. Now this looks clean and modern, right? This looks wood and old. I still do appreciate this old basket weave look pack basket. I just think it looks cool. It's just a classic, you know what I mean? These right here are virtually indestructible. I'm pretty sure they hit it with a truck once to show that. You could stand on them and it bounces back, right? As you can see, this one, not so much. This one's a little bit beat up. If you guys stick around to the end of the video, you'll find out why that's a little bit beat up. And I bet you're gonna have a story that relates to it just a little bit, even if it has nothing to do with ice fishing. So stick around. You guys won't want to miss that. All right, guys, let's talk jigging. This is going to be the first year that I really get into jigging, and you might see a video of last year of me saying that same exact thing. I had the Markham M1 and I tried to do a little jigging, but again, we couldn't really get out there. But this year's the year. This is the year we're going to do it. So I do not know a ton about jigging. What I know comes from YouTube and the videos that I've watched, and I'm going to try different things. I'm going to show you guys what I have purchased for this year. Don't really take it to heart. Again, do your own research. I am going to link them anyway. This is just what I see people using, and they're fishing the same species that I am, which is super important when it comes to any of your gear. Depending on what you're fishing for, you need to know for yourself what kind of bait, what kind of jig poles, what size, what pound test line you're going to use, or any of that stuff. So that goes without saying. That's everything. So this one right here is an inline reel. I purchased it separately, the rod and the reel. I did quickly learn that the more expensive and the better grade pole you buy, less likely they are to come with the reel. So a lot of this stuff is sold separately. This comes from Lake Effect. It is the Panty Stopper 32-inch ultra light. So this is what I'm going to use for crappie and panfish, different stuff like that. And on here I have the Clam, I believe it's a zero gravity reel. I'll link it below. But I'm super excited because that's really what I want to go after this year is panfish. So pretty stoked about that. So this one's a little bit heavier duty. So this is the 32 medium heavy. And then it's got the, I don't even remember what this is, Crossfire 2000 reel on it, open face. Heavier line. I got it set up for lake trout, maybe some pike. I do want to get a heavy. We're actually heading to Jack Traps in Monmouth, Maine today. We're going to check out some more jig poles, aren't we, Chloe? Mm-hmm. And she's making me take her to Olive Garden, so she's got a hell of a deal going on for her. This one right here, this is what I call cheap Amazon. Bought it last year, didn't do any research. So it's the Ugly Stick. It's a reputable brand, but I'm not really excited about it. It's going to be the 28-inch medium action with 8-pound line on it. So it's got the Shakespeare reel. Who knows? This could end up being my favorite, and it could get the best fish off it because it was the cheapest and the one that I didn't really care about. Don't have a reel for this one yet. This is the Dead Meat 32-inch medium. So this one's a little bit heavier duty than the Panfish Ultralight. I don't know what I'm going to put on for a reel yet. You guys can suggest something if you want for the mediums. But this is a really nice one. And for you that don't know, because I didn't know, a lot of times when you get these, they don't necessarily come with the reel wraps, right? So I picked up some 13 Fishing. I just picked up a case of them. Luckily, the ones that I have purchased either come with them, or you can just put your reel right on and then just screw it in tight. So that's something that I didn't really know about. Inside here, I'll zoom you guys in a little bit. The box isn't important, but this is just something, like I said, without jigging, I don't know these things until I started watching videos, and then it's like, that's a really good idea. So this is just what I have my jigs in, and there's just foam slots in there, so you can actually just push your jig in. That way they're not flopping all around. And I mean, it's simple things like that right there that really takes care of your stuff. The paint's not going to get all chipped. They're not going to be all over the place, all tangled up. Your fingers are going to be freezing. You're going to be trying to untangle jigs, so that's not going to be any fun. So that's just a cool thing. Don't quote me. I believe this is the 36. It's the smaller of the two Eskimo rod lockers. And when you start spending money on better jig poles, I don't know why I touched the Amazon one first. That's not the better jig pole. But these three right here are expensive enough that I don't want them just thrown in a bucket for the tips to be snapped off or the reels to get dinged up. So definitely important. This is pretty heavy duty. It wasn't the cheapest thing in the world, but you break two of these jig poles or two of these reels, that by far is going to be more pricey than the cost of this. So I can fit 4 in, and then it's got the big compartment. I got some reels and lines and stuff like that. And again, I'll list some lines in the down below, but you guys just figure out what you're fishing and do your research on what pound you need, and that's the most important thing, is what species you're going for. That's going to tell you everything you need to know. So that's what we are going to bring out for jigging. Hey Chloe.
Yeah.
You getting cold?
It's not warm.
Let's talk about some heat then. You can probably figure out which one's used and which one's new, but this is the heat sources we're going to use for the year. So this is the Big Buddy. You can fit 2 propane tanks on this one, 2 of the green Coleman propane tanks, 1 on each side versus just the 1. We are not going to do that though. We're going to rock with this 20-pound tank. And if you guys don't have your 20-pound tank in one of these old style milk containers, milk carton things, you're missing out. This keeps it upright, keeps it good in the sled, easy to handle. It might seem stupid, but this thing right here is awesome. I love it. You can put it in the back of your truck and hook it in much easier and don't have to worry about it. I found this on the side of the road and I was pumped. I do have a couple more, but you know, one man's trash is another man's treasure, I guess. So we are going to hook this and that to that when we're using it. This is going to be the primary. The reason why I bought this is because it serves 2 purposes. It's my backup heat source if this breaks or has a malfunction of some sort, okay? It's also going to be my backup cook stove. So if we're doing an overnight and the cook stove that I buy, the Coleman, if that breaks down or if that has issues, then I still have a heat source. So my trip's not ending, okay? That was very important to me, to have a backup heat source and backup for cooking. So both of these things we're going to hook to the 20-pound tank. This right here, I was able to find this nice bag. Again, that's linked below. This one I found the bag, but I didn't want to pay the price for it. So this is going to go in one of my hard plastic boxes, I think. It was more than this one, and I didn't care for it. So this is a pretty nice bag. It's got some room in it. On the hose here, again linked below, there's a ton of different ones. This is the one I found to go for the Big Buddy. I honestly haven't even looked to see if it would hook to the Flex yet, but I'm assuming it will. On the end of this, that does not come with the hose, is a filter. Make sure you buy this filter, okay? You're gonna want to have that on your buddy heater when you put it in. On the other side, I have a propane gauge that can kind of tell me how much is on it. Not sure if I'm going to use that or not. If you guys take a glass of hot water and you dump it on this propane tank slowly and run your hand down with the water, make sure it's not boiling. When you feel cold, that's the level of propane that's in your tank. So that's kind of a good way to check it. I'm always going to have those green bottles with me. So I'll always have those as a backup. They actually can go right inside of this bag. I'm never going to rely on one thing. Just like I'm not relying on one heat source, one cooking source, I'm not going to rely on the propane, okay? So I'm going to bring some green bottles with me. It's just a must. It's too important not to have extras. So that's just a quick way you can test that, see how much you got. Thank you, TikTok, for teaching me that. So this hose setup can all go right in here. And if you did not know, this is actually designed to stack right on there, and it clips to it. Also, if you do not know, they might have a combo that you can buy for more expensive, but everything I found, these are actually sold separately, and I didn't even know that. I thought it was the whole purpose of this unit to have this on the bottom, but you do have to buy it separately, so it did get a little pricey. But I think it is going to be cool, and it might even turn into my go-to, and we'll retire this or we'll make this the backup. I'm not sure yet. We'll have to see when it's negative 20 degrees what works the best. Alright guys, so a few more things I want to show you, and I'm going to be honest with you. pretty much all this stuff I bought like 1 or 2 at a time, or if Amazon had their Amazon deal days or Black Friday. I am itching to get out on the ice. Like I'm excited. I hope we get 4 inches of ice tonight. I hope it drops to -80, and there's just enough ice to go fishing tomorrow. That would be my hope for today. So here's a couple more things. Again, with the brands, there's a ton of different ones. These are Earth Pack dry bags. I believe this one's 55 liter, and I believe this one is 30-ish. So they're pretty big. I like the big one because it's got the backpack on it. I will tell you, on this brand, I'm gonna use it, right? Nothing, no knockoff against the company or anything. It's like a wetsuit more than some of the other bags that I've seen, and it's really hard to slide like the pad for my caught in here. It's just not slippery enough for things to go in. But I mean, to throw a sweatshirt, extra socks, I mean, you guys can see how big that is. That's gonna work perfect for that. I did buy an Eskimo one. It's not gonna be in this video because I bought it last night, but I'll still link it to one of our videos when you guys see me using it. That one looks just a little bit better. Again, more expensive, so a lot of times more expensive means better. Not always, but sometimes. The bucket caddy, also by Eskimo. It's just something, again, there's going to be times where we just want to run a gun. I can throw my jig pole in this if I want to, just one when I'm being careful. If I want to go jigging, try a different couple spots. I mean, we could put first aid kit stuff in here. You never really have enough organizational stuff. Now with me, I have too much really, because I'll organize it and then I'll just forget where it is or forget that I have it, and then I'll find it in the summertime and be like, wow, I bought 2 more of those. So not always a good thing, I guess, but this is a pretty cool one. Definitely want to take out some safety stuff for sure, some band-aids, sunscreen, believe it or not. You can get a sunburn pretty bad when it's glaring off the ice. Who is interrupting my YouTube video here? Mark. Mark is sending me Facebook post of a boat. Mark, we want to ice fish. We don't want a boat, we want to ice fish. Can't believe you interrupted my video for a boat. It was a nice boat. I hope he buys it. He can take us out. Alright, so right here is the bait cooler. It is 13 quart, and it does come with an aerator. It won't take you a lot of research to realize these aerators are junk and you'll have to keep replacing them, but it is a good thing to have if you want to keep bait from Friday to Sunday, or longer. So 13 quart. It does come with a strap that I can put on my shoulder. This thing is pretty bulky when you're carrying it around full of water and bait. I am thinking about getting the same brand, but getting a smaller one just to have, to take to the hole when you have a flag or if you're checking your bait, so you don't get to lug this big thing around, because it is kind of heavy. But I've had very good luck with it. I don't find it leaking or anything like that. It's got good latches on it. It's got a measuring tape across the top. Hopefully we catch bigger than 14-inch fish, and not being able to use this measuring tape will be a good thing. So that's the bait bucket we're using. Again, very generic product. A pad to, I got some old knees going on, so just being able to kneel down on something when you're setting your traps or jigging or whatever you're doing. You can get that Lowe's, Home Depot, Walmart, anything. To clean out the hole, I got the Big Dipper right here. The Big Dipper is for a 10-inch hole. The Little Dipper is for an 8-inch hole. Again, a measuring thing on this. This goes up to 26 inches. That's pretty cool. This right here is just hard, and when it ices up, you can smack it and it breaks the ice off. There's some of the cheaper ones would just break. The metal ones are just cold. And again, old knees, old back. I don't really have to bend down to clean out the hole, so I do like that aspect of it. Couple more cool things, some atlases, the Gazetteer. I want to try fishing different places this year, so being able to have these maps where GPSs don't go, that's really going to be helpful. My dad used these a lot when he worked on the transmission power lines in Maine. There was always just these back roads that were never on GPS that you'd have to go to find the areas to get underneath the power lines. And then I guess I realized, I'm a little embarrassed to mention it, but I never realized they made one for fishing. So this is going to have every county in Maine. It's going to have all the bodies of water. It's going to have estimated depths, and it shows what kind of fish are in those bodies. So that's pretty cool. I've already checked out a couple of the places that I want to go, we'll be able to take a couple different color markers and, you know, circle one area in red or green depending if it was bad or good, and we can know the areas for the following years to stay away from, or the ones that we definitely want to go back to. So this is going to be cool. A couple things that are going to be in the truck. Kind of falls under that safety aspect too a little bit. You want to be able to find your way, especially if you're hauling a trailer and stuff. It's good to know where you're going before you get there. Alright guys, so this is it. This is the big thing that I purchased this year. The thing that I'm most excited about, the game changer, the new thing in fishing. Some people love it, some people hate it. I love it. It's the Garmin. So this is going to be the live scope that we're going to use this year. It's the 1022 model, and I'm just super excited to use it. The LVS 34 is going to be the transducer I'm using, and I paired that with the shuttle made from Summit and the Summit pole. This is going to be ran with the Amped Outdoors 48 amp hour battery, so this thing should last me way longer than a day. And I'm just super excited to use it. And I bought this again quite a while ago, and it sucked to see this sitting on my shelf because I want to use it so bad. You can use it in a boat. Unfortunately, I don't have a boat. Mark is probably about to have a boat. We could probably strap this to it though. I'm sure he'll let us. So I'm super excited about this, and I'm gonna really learn how to use it with you guys. I've watched a lot of video on it, and there's just so much that people are talking about, and it's really unbelievable to have something like this. And I've seen a lot of cool things found that aren't even fish, different things that are in the water. So this is going to be used a lot. This is why I wanted to get into jigging. This is going to help us find those fish, and I'm just super excited about it. So don't laugh at me at first. It's going to be trial and error. We're going to have to learn the different settings, and hopefully we can get on some panfish. Again, that's what I'm really going to go after. And then when we do some overnights, if we're going to go for burbot or pickerel or pike and stuff like that, swimming by at night, we'll be able to see it on there. And as we're cooking or playing cards or just relaxing in the pop-up, we'll be able to know when something's coming by and where it is, and see how they react to the different baits I bought. So super excited on this. Can't tell you enough how excited I am. This was a big purchase for me. And again, you do not need to have this to do any sort of fishing. This is just something that I've always wanted, and I've saved up for years to get it. It was something we've always talked about, and it was always kind of a joke. And then at one point I said, you know, especially with this YouTube channel, we're getting it. And so that's what we did, and we'll see how it works this year. So stay tuned for that. So what we got here is last but certainly not least. Really, I'm doing it last in this video, but when you go on your fishing trip, it needs to be first, and that's safety. So ironically, I don't have everything yet that I'm going to talk to you guys about. It's just some of those things I can grab last minute, so I didn't feel like I needed to go buy it so as early as some of this other stuff that might be out of stock. Stuff I do have: some creepers to put on your boots. You do not want to get out on that ice and slip and fall, hurt your back, hit your head, anything like that that could cause you to not be able to get back or get help, especially if you're going out by yourself. I had an uncle that stepped from land onto the ice and fell and hit his head and hurt his back. So that's super scary to think about. That's my biggest fear. Even if I take one of the kids out, right? So if I take the kid out and I get hurt, they're not going to be able to move me, right? So we might be out of cell service. Now, do I really want to send my child off to get cell phone service to help me? That's not something I'm interested in doing at all. So get something for your feet when it's icy. Have them with you at all times, even if you think there's snow. The way the wind blows the drifts, sometimes there's snow here, there's not here. So it's best to always just keep them with you. I have this headlamp. Regardless if you're going when it's dark or not, stuff happens. You might get, you know, stranded somewhere. A vehicle could break down. Again, you might not have service up in northern Maine, out on the Golden Road somewhere. It's always just good to take these extra precautions and have this stuff. So it's stuff that I haven't picked up yet. The ice picks. You're going to want to have those hanging off you, especially early ice. Really should have them at all times. It's going to help you dig yourself out of the water, and they're so cheap, there's really no excuse not to have those on you. The other thing I have in the garage is a throw rope. That's always an important thing that you can hook out there. And even if it's not for you, you might have to help somebody else. So, and rope is just one of those things. It never hurts to have rope with you. There's so many things it can be used for, pulling people out, or literally pulling people out of the water. Super important. With these heaters that I have, they're supposed to shut off if they sense that they're knocked over or if there's not enough oxygen. But carbon monoxide detector, that's something you guys want to get. You guys want to throw that in your shack when you're using it. Keep your propane tank outside, and just make sure you're safe with that. I know there's a lot of different heat sources, more than what I have. Just always have one. Again, it's too cheap not to have something like that. So make sure you grab that, and check your ice. Use your spud bar early, especially, and late. I know a lot of people itching to get out there. It's not worth catching a couple fish. It's not worth YouTube views. It's really not. There's nothing funny about going out too early and falling through and having a laugh with your buddy. To me, that's not something to really joke about, because it can take your life real quick and leave your loved ones behind. So don't do that. Oh, you guys want to know about the pack basket? That's why you're still here. So, picture this. We're out ice fishing with my cousin Paul. And we're going down an icy hill, okay? We're pretty much on our butts going down this whole hill. And in my jet sled is a brand new to me, only 2-year-old that I bought from Paul, Jiffy ice auger, gas. I know, gross, right? But it was nice to me and I really liked it. So we're scooting down this hill. Paul gets over the rock wall. I wasn't so lucky. My jet sled turns sideways. The auger slides out of the jet sled and slams into a tree. This new auger I just bought from him. Piece of plastic falls off. I thought it's broken. My bait sloshes out with it. All the bait flopping around on the ice, and all my water's out of the bait bucket. So that's all gone. I look like a baby deer. I can't stand up because it's too icy going down the hill. I'm trying to grab my auger. I'm soaked because the water got all over me. So Paul happens to turn around to get his jet sled down the rock wall, and the only thing he sees is this pack basket. And it's not on the ground. It has been yeeted about 15 feet in the air coming at him. So I had to throw something. Something had to be thrown at that moment. And so he just yells out to me, "Guy!" And that's all I heard. And when he said guy, as in guy, what are you doing? Stop doing that. We just started busting out laughing, right? And the plastic on the auger was something that it was a cover, so it comes off. So we drilled a hole right there by shore. We got some water in my bait bucket. We were able to save most of the bait, and it just became a story that we've laughed about. I think it's been 2 years now, and so it's always a joke, you know, whenever anything's going wrong. And I'm growing and I'm adapting, and I guess you could call it maturing. I know Ariane probably wouldn't call it that, or my family, but everything's not the end of the world. Take your time. If something breaks, it breaks, you know. As long as you're safe and you make it out on the ice, that's all that matters. Just roll with it. I know breaking equipment sucks, but I don't really think there was any trip that we've ever gone on this year that something didn't go as planned. So just roll with it. You don't have to yeet one of these things, but if you do want to yeet one, yeet the luring pack basket. That's going to stand up to it. Thank you guys for watching this. I hope you guys saw some gear that you liked. I hope you guys see some gear that you didn't think of. I really want to help people. So even if it was one thing that you guys didn't think of that you go purchase and it helps your ice fishing season, I hope you guys got that from this video, or a video like it. And comment below if there was something that you guys think I should have or try, and maybe we can give it a try this year. But just keep in mind, I already got 2 jet sleds, so I don't think Chloe wants to put runners on a 3rd one. No. So hit that subscribe button. We're going to plan a ton of trips, so this is the gear that you guys are going to see, whether it's overnight or whether it's a day trip. And if you want to see this gear in use and see some content, hit that bell. You'll be notified every single time we have an adventure and a trip. And you're not really just subscribing to a YouTube.
You're subscribing to an adventure.
Yeah, an adventure. And we're going to take you along on that adventure. you.